everyone. This is Steve Houtsome here for Tea with a Druid, and hopefully everything is working okay. I think it takes a few seconds to kick in, so do let me know that you are there, so that unlike the last broadcast I did, I know somebody's listening to me. So it will be grand to see some comments and see some names. Hopefully there are lots of you there. They're beginning. Here we have there's Brian here and Liz. Lovely, that's grand. Welcome along one and all. That's lots and lots of people joining now, which is wonderful. So I will waffle for a little while everybody comes in and gets themselves comfortable and pulls up a chair and so on, and hopefully share with you something that will be useful for you. Now, I wasn't expecting to be with you, and it's really lovely actually to be back. It's been quite a while since I've had a cup of tea with you. I can't remember the last one that I did, but what actually happened was a little while ago. Philip was going to be joining you, but he's got all sorts of technical things going on, and so he called to ask if I could do tonight's tea. So I said, okay, absolutely fine, I'll think of something to talk about. So I did what any good tarot reader would do in such a situation. I asked the tarot. So I simply found out my cards and asked for just one card to give me something useful to talk to you all about tonight, and something hopefully helpful to go away with. So I selected the one card from one of my decks, and I'll show you the card that I picked up. It's the Ten of Wands. Now hopefully it's probably all sorts of that might be a bit clearer. All sorts of, I'll hide behind it. There we are. All sorts of light going on. So hopefully you can get a bit of an idea of what that is. I think the lights I've got on here are obscuring all of this stuff, but we can see this chap here who's got an armful of the wands in this particular deck. And perhaps if let's move it that way, it might be a bit clearer for you actually. Turning it round, it's really difficult to get it to show clearly. But we've got this chap here who he's been through his journey through this particular suit, and as we can see, he's gathered all of these wands, all these branches or crystal wands they've got, I think, on the end there. But he seems to be looking away to the side, and I don't know how clear it is. You've got this bright expanse of fire burning, wands being, traditionally speaking, the suit of fire for this suit in the tarot. And he, again, you can't really see this, but he's looking away at a beautiful castle that's on the top of the hill. You might just be able to see a little bit of the outline there. He looks to me like he's thinking, how the hell am I going to get up there with this lot? So, okay, this was the card that I picked, and one of the things that came to me about this was that it often represents, I've found when I'm working with the cards, I'm going to bring that down now, my arm's aching. One of the things that I found when I'm working with the tarot is that this card often has a feeling of lots of burdens and all the things we've collected along the way on our path, and then we sort of struggle and stagger along under this great weight. And I can see somebody's just Diana's put up a comment there that the Ten of Wands seems very appropriate to these times, and I thought, well, yes, exactly, because of course we've collectively across the globe we've got all these burdens and troubles and worries, and everyone's under their own individual weight, and so we all are collectively as well. And they may be in all kinds of different ways, whether it's economically or emotionally, spiritually for all of us gathered here in a way as well. We're all having to find different ways and different outlets. And one of the things that struck me about that, if you've heard me talk before about the tarot, then you'll know that one of the things I'm always harping on about is that the cards really are representing energies. I try to sort of move away from this idea that they have a locked down, no pun intended, meaning. I don't know where that came from, sorry about that. But they have this, defined or restricted, limited meaning or interpretation to them. And for me, beyond that, perhaps at a deeper level, they go to this energetic level. So when I looked at this card when it came out tonight, I thought, well, it can be about perhaps those even unrealised or unspoken burdens, all the things that we're carrying at many different levels, and that those things drag us down. They can block our way from seeing clearly sometimes as well. So I thought, well, it'd be good not to dwell on those things and focus on the negative, but to simply become aware, and we'll do a meditation shortly to work this energetically through as well, but that we can become aware of what it is we've gathered, what it is perhaps since the start of all of this, or maybe outside of all of this virus related stuff and all the impact that's having on us all the things that we've gathered along the way that we're carrying. And they may be defined things that you know about, worry for loved ones or whatever it might be, but there may be things that we're not really aware of actually as well. We can from an energetic point of view again, and on that spiritual level, it's very easy to acquire all this stuff, and we can get bogged down in it. We're staggering along under this great weight, a bit like this bloke in this card again. To my mind, I've always thought, well, he just needs to let go. He just needs to put some of these things down, at least lighten his load a little bit. So what we need to do is realise what it is we're carrying, and we'll focus on it energetically in our meditation. But you may be becoming aware of things in your mind as I'm talking, of I need to try and let go of this. It might be an attitude, it could be a habit or an action, something that isn't serving you, serving you in terms of your growth, that limits you, or is in some way sort of preventing you to be the best you can be. Because right now we obviously, all the time, we need to be the best we can be, but right now we certainly need to be the best we can be. So I thought we would share a little meditation in a moment to help us release some of that and see if we can lighten that load, to see if we can just realise what it is we're carrying and what we're able to release. And it may be as well not that we, in an instant we're suddenly transformed, and we come away at the end of this broadcast, which is going incredibly quick, and we're totally different instantly. It may be that some of these things can be quite deep rooted. This is the Ten of Wands card. It's not the Ace. He's towards the end of this particular phase that he's in. So it can be that these things, we acquire them over a period of time, and it may be it needs a little bit of time to actually shift and start to move away from them and let go. There may be follow-up things that we need to do, perhaps little magical acts or something, even a ritual, whatever you feel moved to do, that can help you let go and help you release. So that's really the theme that came to me just when I looked at this card. So I'm hoping that as you're listening, perhaps you've even got your own set of tarot out and you've grabbed the Ten of Wands, whatever, but it's the visualization of the cards not needed in the journey I'm going to take you on in a second. It's more a question of hopefully becoming aware of some of the things, or at least the feeling, you know, the energy of the impact of everything of the last sort of couple of months or whatever it's been, the impact that's had upon you, and the things that you want to let go of or feel like you need to release or would just simply like to. Because of course, once we've done that, then that beautiful light and energy, all that, oh, here he is again, that light and fire energy that we see glowing behind this guy, and I don't know how clear you can see that, but it's then, as we've released all those burdens, we've begun to let go, that's where the light can get in. And as I'm saying this, I'm reminded by a quote which I've used before. It's brilliant, from the genius that was Leonard Cohen, which said, "There is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in." There are a stunning song of his, and there are many of those, but a stunning song simply called Anthem. Absolutely beautiful if you want to check that out. But there is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. So we can look at releasing whatever it is we might be holding, carrying, dragging us down, the burdens and so forth, that when we release, we begin to let go, then the light can come in. So that's what we'll do a little meditation on. So let's go into that. I've been casting my eyes. You probably keep seeing me looking down to one corner. This is where all the comments are scrolling up, and I'm seeing some lovely ones. Oh, and as Jamie's just said, it's the new moon in Taurus. I think that was it is, yeah, new moon in Taurus tomorrow. So it's a great time to be letting things go before we get that new moon energy in, which is wonderful. So let's go into a little meditation. It's a little guided journey, little visualization. So if you want to get a little bit comfortable, settle down wherever you are, and just let your eyes close when you are ready. Let's just take a pause. Let's just breathe for a moment. We forget to breathe. Obviously we're all always doing it, but let's just become conscious of our breathing. And when we do that, all sorts of things start to happen. Usually we're breathing more from the upper part of our chest and our lungs. When we become conscious of our breath, we can drop the breath down to below our diaphragm. We can breathe from the belly. It slows and it deepens the breath. We feed the body and the brain with more oxygen, and we instantly start to feel a little bit clearer, a little bit lighter, a little bit clearer in our minds. So let's just breathe in that way, just finding your own rhythm, your own pattern to your breath, letting the breath come, finding a flow with your breathing. And we let the body relax, we settle into that inner space, so we can just begin, as we continue with the flow of that breath, we can begin to feel ourselves even now becoming a little bit lighter. We can move our awareness gently in to that idea of ourselves as being more than our body. We're more than just physical. We can be aware of how we're feeling right now, but again, in this deeper level of an awareness of ourselves, we can move beyond our feelings, and we can recognize that although we have our feelings, we're not our feelings. They don't define or limit us, and we can breathe more. Just again, already releasing and letting go. We can become aware of our minds as well, and our thoughts, what's going on through our minds at the moment. As we continue to breathe in that way, we can recognize that we are more than our minds, we're more than our thoughts. So we can let go of our thoughts. We let them come and go and drift away. And we can become aware then of ourselves as a being of energy, or a being of light, or a being of an energy body. The physical is just one part of that whole energetic self that we are. And so, as that being of light and energy, we can take ourselves on journeys, we can travel. And we can travel in our awareness, or simply in our imagination. So in your imagination or in your awareness now, just find yourself walking on a path through a wood. Maybe any kind of path, in any kind of wood, or perhaps a forest. Somewhere you know, perhaps it's somewhere you've never seen before. But there you are walking through. And you can smell the smells of this place. Perhaps it's a little damp and you can smell the earth. You can breathe in the purer air. There's so much good that comes from just walking through an area of wood or trees. Perhaps you can hear the sound of leaves rustling in a little light wind. See the shafts of sunlight coming through the trees. Just walk along, look around you, just enjoying being here, going deeper into the woods. Perhaps your path is lovely, neatly laid out and the going's very easy. Maybe you're making your own path as you go and pushing back branches, squeezing underneath some overhanging boughs of trees or climbing over fallen trunks. You make your way deeply into the woods, and the more you do so, the deeper into this connection you seem to go. As you continue walking, you'll see just lying at the edge of your path, there's a fallen log, or a stick or a twig from one of the trees nearby, and you know somewhere inside yourself that log or that stick, twig or branch, whatever it is for you to collect. So you pick it up and you can feel its weight in your hand. Perhaps feel of the bark on its edges, and you continue your way along this path. You can see a lighter area ahead of you. And you keep walking, following that path, moving towards that lighter area. And you realize then that you're emerging into a clearing right in the center of this wood. In the center of that clearing there's a fire pit dug, and in it's burning a beautiful fire. And there are many souls here. All these energy beings joining you, and there's a hush, there's a feeling of silence here. Perhaps a few people tending the fire, keeping everything safe. And each one comes before the fire, stands and pauses, as you do now, and you can feel the energy of all that you wish to be free of, all your burdens, troubles, worries, fears, whatever it is, in whatever form, you can feel them flowing in some way into that branch or that stick. Doesn't matter how big it is, it's purely the energy flow moving through you. You feel all that energy going right in, and then when you're ready, you can throw that stick into the fire. You see the fire flaring up a little as it consumes what you've given it, what you've released and let go. Perhaps you bow, just as a gesture of acknowledgement and thanks to the fire. Each one takes their turn. And when you've released those burdens, you can turn around knowing that they're gone. You can walk away from the fire, its warmth and its heat receding. You find your way back to the path through the wood. And perhaps even now you can recognize somehow your steps are a little lighter. Some way your whole being's become a little bit lighter. Perhaps you even float along through that path in some way. Back through the woods. You feel the warmth from the sun. It shines above you, feeding you a different, lighter kind of energy. Those shafts of sunlight as you pass through them, each one a blessing on you. And so you make your way back. That shift of energy in your being, and the lightness to your being. And then you can allow that inner place to fade away, closing your inner eyes, becoming aware instead of the physical body which you inhabit, the breath within that body. Just connecting with that breath again, becoming aware of where you're sitting once more. In your chair, wherever you are. Just connecting with your breath and deepening your breath once again. Just drawing yourself back. Deepening the breath, returning back for the remainder of our little gathering here. Just coming back and opening your eyes again. And returning in your own time. And come back to us, and I hope you are a little lighter. It's begun a little magic. We all need a little magic. Well, we need a lot of magic. So there we are. I hope that was useful. You found it helpful for you. Now, I'm very conscious of the time and the fact that the lovely Penny is also stepping in tonight in the Private Magicians Club. If you are in that, in just a few minutes time, at 8:30. So I won't take up many more of your minutes because each one's precious. I'm seeing some lovely messages scrolling up that you all seem to have liked that. Thank you. Changing tack for a second, because as I opened my eyes and came out of my little journey, I spotted a message from, I think it was Karen, that I know my wife had picked up and said if I don't see this and respond, she'll pull me up on it later, so I don't want to get told off. So Karen, one of the things she does, this thing here, this is my banner when I do fairs and shows and all of that, that sits there, and it's nicer to look at than the door to my little room. This is my little virtual den that I'm calling the Hermitage, and it's still developing. So Karen had asked what the words mean around my symbol. This is a symbol that I use. You'll see it on our website, Tarot Therapy, and everywhere. It's I designed it, oh God, it's got to be, I don't know, 30 odd years ago. So there's lots of different bits tucked in it, but the wording, Rota, Tarot, Orat, Torah, Ator, essentially means the wheel of tarot speaks the law of nature. Rota is wheel, tarot is the tarot, Orat is as in an orator, to speak, Torah is the law, Hebrew, book of the law, Ator is supposedly coming from Hathor, Egyptian goddess of nature, but there's lots of different interpretations. So it's the wheel of tarot speaks the law of nature, and for me that sums everything up. for the tarot. So there we are. I will conclude now. I'll have a quick refreshment of my cuppa and come back and look at some lovely comments that you seem to be putting up, and thank you very much for those and taking part. And I'll finish with that and wish you lots of love and blessings, and stay safe, of course, and stay well, and I'm sure I will speak with some of you very soon. Okay, everybody, take care. Bye now.